Hi, I've been playing Heroes Siege Season 6 in the past 1.5 months, I think, and I'm gonna do a review at the end of the video, but first of all, I just wanna talk about what my experiences were. So if you only wanna hear the review, go skip to the timestamp here, and if you wanna hear me ramble about my wacky adventures, then don't skip. Thanks. So first I played Softcore Trade. I did the HP Stacker Necro and Pyromancer, made roughly 1 billion gold with these two characters. Then I tried Pirate and then got bored pretty much immediately. After this I turned to Hardcore Trade, made like 10 plus dead characters. Then I had a pretty solid Stormweaver, made the 3 videos, which like a handful of people saw, died to Amon-Ra, of course. And then pretty much the same exact thing happened with Necromancer, then gave all of my stuff away to somebody who actually wanted to play, because I know if I had some leftover stuff, I would have just pushed myself and I would have been even more miserable than I already was. After taking like a 2 to 3 day break, I turned to Softcore SSF with the goal of getting to actual Inferno difficulty. So I picked a Shield Lancer with the Arcane build because that's currently absolutely busted. And I did Hell 5 Mevius on H level 15 with just absolute minimal dogshit gear which I've had at that point. It was a somewhat comfortable speed dungeon clearer, but once it came to actually large open areas, it is absolutely not that good. So I had a secondary goal in my mind that I wanted to do a Fizz Lancer to get some giga clear speed. So I had a minor issue with this. The Fizz build rely heavily on relics, so they had much higher priority over the arcane builds, quality of life relics such as like Magic Find, extra skills, or even more HP. Another problem with this, that the bossing situation is absolutely awful. I tried a Shield Slam bosser build, which is a little bit of clunky, and I was actually failing bosses instead of the arcane builds, just racking them in seconds, so I had to scrap the Fizz build idea. My main plan at this point was to get as optimized gear on Hell 5 as possible, so I can just absolutely one-shot both of the bosses required for Inferno. This involves a ton of flat arcane skill damage charms, 2 really strong set charms, and I just accidentally found an Annihilator somewhere. It just happens, I don't know. My current gear at this point was a Gem King's Garb with Amethyst and the minion attack speed augment. I've had a Grimbone Helm, a Necro Collar Gloves, a Soulforged ring, which was the 5th ring I farmed out in this season. No fucking wonder I was absolutely burned out. I've had a Steve's Necklace, which I didn't drop in Sheeponia, by the way. It was from a 3-3 run. And a +4 arcane skill base Etherwalker boots with a Bubonic Shield rune word. Shield Lancer bossing is absolutely busted. Both of the bosses pretty much melted instantly. So Inferno was unlocked after like 1 week of grinding. And I got really lucky since Gabriel gave me a Summon Shield, which was a huge single target boost increase, even further down to what I already had. I was also using some glyphs to make the farming a lot easier. I was using Angel for Magic Find, Loot for more fragments, which is pretty much the priority since you don't want to take 7,000 Eternal Battlefield portals, and the Battle Glyph. Sangli still took way longer to get to than any other bosses, and I absolutely didn't feel the need to use either Shadow or Primeval glyphs for those souls. Once I got to Inferno difficulty, my goal was to get all boss achievements, besides Otin obviously, because that's bugged. Thank you guys. After not needing any other souls from those bosses, I was just saving up the fragments and shards so I could kill the Act bosses, Shadow Realm, and Sangli and Uber Damien almost instantly, like within a couple hours of just entering Inferno. I was also constantly rolling Bifrost keys I've had, so Inferno Luna was down like 2 days later. Sadly, I didn't get any useful drop. I also had a bunch of scrolls, so I tried Amon-Ra with no Inferno only items, so my DPS was way down actually. After like 7-minute hard phase, I only took 1% of its HP down, so these bosses are insane. So my current plan was to course correct a little bit, get 2 Arcanists from Anubis, get a Shield Lancer Torch from Reaper, get a Sangli belt because that belt is just crazy good, and get some more levels on my augment. And while I was focusing on those, Inferno Gabriel also went down, which was a pretty hype moment. I got another shield, but now this time with 6 sockets. And the progression after like another week was I had 2 Arcanists, I had a +3 Shadow Lancer Torch. Editing infant here, what the fuck did I just have a +3 of? Shadowlancer. Sangli didn't drop a single belt though in 22 kills, which I feel like is bullshit, but it still happened. It still happened. And my minion augment was level 4 already. I'm not even gonna talk about the amount of fucked up augments I did, because once I get the augment, I get the chest upgrade, and then it happened like 3 times. Then I was spamming Chaos Towers. Inferno gives a decent amount of Rakul fragments, so it wasn't that big of a grind. So I killed him within 2 to 3 days of grinding CTs, but I of course didn't get the ring, which is sad. And after 1 whole week on Inferno, Amon-Ra was also down and got the 0.0% Steam achievement on SSF, which I feel pretty happy about. After this, I give myself a little bit of a side quest. Since on SSF getting gold is incredibly difficult and tedious, I wanted to make a character which specializes in gold farming, which is why I've made a Paladin. Now, Paladin itself isn't a gold farm specific, but it has incredible clear with the arcane build, so I just wanted to do that for fun, because my definition of fun is pretty much fucked up at this point. Paladin itself is incredibly fast, but needs a lot of wheelchairing for my current shield lancer, since all of the good drops which I need are in Inferno. My current plan was to use the Paladin to quickly farm any fragments or shards I need, and then use the shield lancer to kill the bosses on Inferno, so I can get the extra juicy drops. Now, the boss DPS on this character is around 400 to 500 million with Inferno gear. That's not that much. My shield lancer at this point has over 4 billion single target damage with the same gear, but you know, it was fine. And after like another week of grinding, I've somehow managed to rip to Gabriel, but I got the second phase transition, so that's done. We're not gonna question that. Now, the Amon-Ra fight was interesting because somehow I died to the first try I did, which was very embarrassing. But the second attempt went incredibly well, since the Fist of Heavens on the Paladin has some base stun chance, which made the Sobek phase incredibly easy. Like, the boss was standing in the middle just doing a couple auto attacks every couple seconds, and the minions were pretty much non-existent in the fight. They were perma-stunned, very good. But the hard phase from the same stun chance was incredibly difficult. If you stun the blobs in an area where you cannot just burst them down in an AoE, and you're going to have a boss fight where you're absolutely not progressing. It took me like 6 minutes to beat the hard phase. It was incredible, and I still needed all of my Inferno items, so I'm not the happiest about this fight. But I've managed to unlock Inferno, so I could test my gold farming gear, and all I have to say, it's kind of good. My gold farming setup was 3 gold find relics. I had a Compass of Wealth, I had a level 4 greed glyphs, and a level 3 avarice augment. On really large density satanic zones, I could farm like 3 million raw gold per hour, but I think it could be pushed a lot further once I could level up my augment and my glyph. And as a little bit of a finishing touch, I managed to kill Luna on Inferno with this low DPS Paladin as well. It didn't take 10 minutes though. I think this build could do Gabriel on Inferno, but I'm like positively sure Amon-Ra is 100% out of the question for this build. And now for the review part. First and foremost, the Inferno grind feels like a chore, even with having the appropriate farming spec glyphs, and especially considering how much power is kept behind the Inferno Oni drops. Now, I'm talking about the Shadow Torch, talking about the 1% boss rings, of course. The Sheeponia and the Steve set rework felt nice. Sadly, they were overtuned heavily, so from the Season 7 patch notes, we can see already the majority of the sheep set is moving to Inferno only, which is a little sad. New CT feels a little bit refreshing with the random mods, but the boss being turned into another 50 frag portal isn't a change I was really expecting. In addition, it also works like it used to on the older versions, so you just need to beat 10 CTs and then you get the boss guaranteed. I know this could still be brought to Hell5, I think. I think it should be. I don't think it's that big of a deal. Groups are really hard to form with the new change of how lobbies work and show up. It's just broken. Like, most of the time you just simply don't see lobbies show up. I don't know how that's managed to be a situation, but here we are. And 3 to 4 player, any groups are still very much susceptible to crashes and disconnects. I think the main requirement for Inferno Amon-Ra is just really bad. Like, that boss just sucks, in my opinion. I can absolutely understand that it could be like a very hard boss to keep Inferno difficulty as like aspirational content or whatever, but a lot of the time difficulty doesn't feel intentionally designed. It just feels to be an outcome of unfortunate circumstances. such as the Amun-Ra main boss skills can hit you or even kill you while you are in phase transitioning. So you want to go to a portal and then you get hit by a voltage on the other side of the map while you are trying to do the hard phase. It can absolutely happen. In the second phase, it's like the first transition, the crows are very hard to see sometimes, which are just circling the boss, and they're really high damage compared to the laser itself. So I think it's still the least problematic part. They could just be made a little bit more visually, easily more distinguished from the background. The Sobek phase is... oh man. Spawning minions, which are constantly AoE explosion spamming, can cover the entire screen with just fire stuff, which can absolutely multi-hit you, by the way. That's the awful part about this. And this many high HP mobs can actually crash the game or cause a disconnect if you don't have enough DPS, which is just so good. And the hard phase mainly relies on monster AI working properly. Spoiler alert, it doesn't, and sometimes the blobs just wander around the arena, which is very unfortunate if you cannot somehow usher them into the middle of the arena where you can burst them down. So I think that's something that should be looked into. I think the Vanaheim portal is still super easy to miss. Not for me though, I didn't miss a single one in this season, by the way. I don't know how I did that. So I think some changes could be done to that. Maybe putting the portal onto an NPC in one of the towns. After you complete it, you can talk to it, but I could be thinking way too casually, but I think that would help a lot of players. Now, the biggest change with this season was the blood pacts. Does the grind take too long? Well, you can just pay some extra money to be in your own little sandbox where you can engineer it to be an easy as fuck experience. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of this, since the focus of the game seems to shift from making the game for everybody who has already paid for the game once to making it easier and more comfortable for those who are willing to pay a little bit of extra cash, which I don't know, not the best idea in my opinion. Now there was already some things with the monthly subscription where they moved the auctioneer NPC from Act 1 to Act 3 and then putting an Act 1 auctioneer in the paid sub. I'm not necessarily thinking it's like pay to win or whatever. I just legitimately don't understand this way of thinking. I get that the monthly sub is supposed to be just like, hey, if you want to give money to an indie game dev studio, then you can do that, but I don't like it. Call me sour, I don't like it. And with reading some of the Season 7 patch notes showing up with extending the player limit of blood packs to 250, I don't think this trend will slow down any much at all. While also more and more things are being pushed to Inferno only, I absolutely can see and understand why a lot of players just like, yeah, I can give a few extra bucks so I can actually have a game which, you know, is valuing my time a little bit more. So I'm absolutely not blaming the players who actually buy the blood packs. Who am I to judge other people for wanting to enjoy the game with things available to them through the game? And while we're at this topic, I think I've never actually answered this question, but should you buy the DLC as well? Now, here's the thing. Do you want the Jotun class? Sure, go ahead, buy the DLC. Are you looking for some interesting extra content, maybe some new type of activity, new things to farm? Then that's not gonna be in the DLC because it gives no new exclusive content. So now, if you don't want to fall behind on economics or you know, you need some extra character progression, then you pretty much need the DLC, since there is no other way to get to the daily quest board for like a minuscule amount of gold, some runes and items, which could be heroics, by the way, but most importantly, a guaranteed Bifrost key every single time. But besides this, every single thing in the game is available in the base game, which I think is a good thing for the base game, but that says that the DLC is not a lot of extra value, and I'm not sure if you should buy this, honestly. So with all of that being said, I'm not sure I'll check back anytime soon. Maybe I'll read up on the Season 8 patch notes, but I honestly cannot have my hopes up. I think it's important to say that I don't want other people to not enjoy the game. This is far from my intentions. It's nice to see that so many players got into the game this season, by the way. Like, we've seen some record number of players, I think. I just wanted to tell my opinions, which you are absolutely free to disagree with, by the way. In fact, if even the tiniest amount of discourse happens from any of the aforementioned topics because of this video, I'll get to sleep a little bit happier. I'll do my best to answer every comment on this topic, whether it's in the comment section on Discord, in stream chat, if I ever get to stream. So make sure you leave any of your criticisms. It could be whatever. I just want people to talk about these, because I really enjoy the game and I don't want it to go down to a path which I'm not the biggest fan of. Bye!